The episode we've all been waiting for. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another episode of PokeTalk, and today's episode of PokeTalk is going to be my review of the latest episode of Pokemon Pocket Monsters 2019, episode 25, A Battle Festival Exploding with Life versus Mega Lucario. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this episode was a very great episode. It lived up to the hype that the preview built. I really did enjoy this episode. I really couldn't find much negative things to say about it, minus a couple of little things here. But this episode was really great, and it lived up to the hype that it built. I mean, I was a little bit disappointed that a couple of things weren't referenced, but, you know, that kind of wasn't unexpected. So I really am not going to hold that against the episode, even though that did disappoint me a little bit. But with all of that said, though, everybody, and at risk of further rambling, we'll talk about all this soon enough. So let's move on to the actual episode. So the episode begins with Ash and Go arriving in Kalos, and immediately upon their landing in Kalos, Go sets off to catch Kalos Pokemon. Not really surprising here, while Ash heads off for his first of his battles for the World Championship in the Kalos region, and he ends up winning his first battle. But this first battle is also watched by somebody a little bit unexpected, Karina. I use the term little bit unexpected very sarcastically here. But Karina, nonetheless, is ecstatic to see that Ash is here. She can't wait to battle Ash and see him again, much like their promise that they had way back in XY, where they promised to battle again. That promise is going to be lived up to. Meanwhile, Pidgeot is in the middle of the Kanto Forest. They're wondering when Ash is going to come back, but that's a whole different discussion. Anyway, after Ash's battle, Karina heads out of the arena to find Ash and ends up meeting up with Ash here, and these two are, you know, they're really happy to see one another again. And Karina notices that Ash has a Gengar, Dragonite, and a Riolu, and the Riolu, of course, piques her interest. And it's also during this interaction that Karina reveals that she is ranked in the Super Class of the World Championship, and her aim is to battle Leon, to battle basically the strongest trainer in the world. That's what she wants. And, of course, it's a goal that's in immediate confrontation with Ash's because he wants to battle Leon, and these two realize that they are going to have to battle again. But it's also interesting because during this interaction, Karina has some words to say to Ash's Riolu there, basically saying how lucky Riolu is to have a good trainer in Ash. And Riolu immediately looks upon Karina's Lucario in awe and looks up to Karina's Lucario here. And it gives Ash's Riolu a goal because Ash basically says to Riolu, "You want to battle Lucario, don't you?" And of course, Riolu, of course, wants to battle Lucario, but of course, that day won't be today. But it does give Riolu something to work towards in the future, battling Karina's Lucario. So kind of a little bit of alluding here that these two are going to battle again. Possibly, and it wouldn't surprise me if that happened. But and I did say this earlier, something that did disappoint me, really during this whole interaction with Karina and Ash, it really had everything to do with the World Championship and Riolu. Really no reminiscing back on the XY days that Karina spent with Ash and company back then, which is kind of surprising because, I mean, Karina did spend a good chunk of time with Ash, Serena, Clement, and Bonnie, so no mention of that, and of course no mention of the Lemon siblings. I mean, you could have even put them in a cameo in the audience and that would have been fine, but of course that didn't happen. But again, not unexpected, so I'm not holding that against the episode. Anyway, with that there, we see that Ash has now a goal for Riolu, which is to allow Riolu to battle Lucario here. And it's also during this time that Go meets Gherkin. When Go runs into Gherkin's Lucario and Go tries to catch it, and of course that doesn't work, he meets up with Gherkin, who is basically showing Go around the stadium and telling Go a little bit about Mega Evolution. And that's when we cut back to the Ash versus Karina battle here, where Go and Gherkin ultimately end up. So the Ash and Karina battle, which is the meat and potatoes of this episode, the main focus of this episode here, and it did not disappoint. It was fantastically animated. It had great soundtrack, and it was a heart-pounding battle through and through. This really was a great battle in this episode here, and there were a lot of unexpected things here. First of all, we learned that Karina has a Minchow, and it evolved from Minfu from XY. And this, of course, is the Pokemon that Karina used during Ash's gym battle here. And it goes up against Ash's Gengar. However, Gengar ultimately loses when Minshew has a tag out with Lucario, and Gengar ultimately loses to Lucario. That's not very surprising here. So Ash brings out Dragonite, and Dragonite, of course, beats Minshew and ends up going up against Mega Lucario. And this is, of course, the first time Go is seeing Mega Evolution here, and it's pretty obvious that Karina was going to use Mega Evolution. I mean, come on. But anyway, Mega Lucario's out versus Dragonite. This battle was intense, and I really did not expect to know who was going to win through this battle. I mean, we kind of knew that Ash was going to win, but during the battle itself, it looked like Karina was actually going to win here. And ultimately, though, that did not happen when Mega Lucario ends up taking a loss to Ash's unpredictable battle style, something that he was still has held over all of his traveling years, and something that Karina knows is going to come from Ash, an unpredictable battle style, and so she can't really say that she knows what's going to happen, because that's just how Ash battles. And of course, Ash did not disappoint. Dragonite, of course, uses his ability of Hurricane to basically throw up all this debris up at Lucario, weaken it, distract it, and ultimately able to deal the final blow to Lucario here. And Karina ultimately ends up being defeated by Ash and Dragonite, and Ash ends up ranking up all the way to Superclass where Karina was. And I use was loosely because it's not really known whether Karina got knocked down out of Superclass or not just because of this one battle. That's not really alluded to, which is also kind of a little disappointing thing here. And then at the end of the episode, we learned that Go has caught a Barnacle, Scatterbug, Phantump, Fletchling, and Flabebe. So yeah, Go went on a catching rampage again, but that was not the focus of the episode, which I got to say was a relief. I mean, Go catching Pokemon every single episode, you know, that's one of my big continual gripes about this, is because it's repetitive, a little bit stale. They didn't show it this time, and I really do appreciate that, because it did not take away scene time from the Ash and Karina battle, which was something I was really I'll be honest, it was something I was prepared to gripe about. But luckily and fortunately, that did not happen. So yeah, can't say anything bad about that there. And that's essentially the episode. So like I said, this episode lived up to the hype that it built. It's not very often that Pokemon does that, because either the episode builds so much hype that it's unable to live up to it, or it completely sets the bar so dang low that when it smashes it, it's completely unexpected. This one actually is one of those rare episodes where it met the expectations of what we had for it, and I'm super happy about that. Overall, I give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. It was a great episode. I was a little bit disappointed that there were no cameos or references to XY, and that, you know, there were a couple of things that could have been touched on a little bit more, but weren't. But, you know, that's just going to happen. You can't get everything you want, I guess. But overall, does not take away from the fact that this was a fantastic episode, in my opinion, and it truly did live up to the hype, again, in my opinion. But as always, in the comments section down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts were about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What were your thoughts? Just let me know in the comments section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. All right, everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.